The Villain's Demand reviews Daredevil Season 2.
Hey guys, this is The Villain's Demand. I'm Evan the Great. This is Justin Von Doom, and our special guest today, Mike, our Punisher expert.
Excited to be on today?
Oh yeah, I've been ready for this all week. I want to bounce some ideas about what I thought about this season off you guys.
We're glad to have you because your boy's in this season of Daredevil Season 2, which we're about to talk about. Mike's a big Punisher fan, as he likes to call this season.
Punisher Season 1.
So, being new to the show and whatnot, we'll let you give your overall thoughts on this season first.
I really enjoyed this season. I know a lot of people started taking away things from it not being the first season, but we're introduced to the characters. We know these guys. We don't need a big setup. It started kind of slow, but it really ramps up the action. So I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it.
I'm probably in the same boat. To me, Season 2 was, I don't think it was as good as Season 1, but it was almost there. Some of the characters, the new characters anyway, they were awesome. We got a couple episodes of my favorite, the Kingpin. Overall, I also give it 2 thumbs up. Had a few flaws in it, but majority of the film, I enjoyed it.
I'll hold their thumbs up with my thumbs up. I really actually like this season almost as good as Season 1. I thought there towards, I think it's like episode 5, 6, 7, where they started to interweave the Punisher with the Electro Store. I think it kind of slowed down. That kind of bored me, but right after that, it picked right back up, and overall, I can't wait for Season 3. I just wish it'd come out like this summer.
Yeah.
We've all kind of been talking about this before we got started. There's a lot of good things that came out of this season. You got some new characters, which is why we wanted Mr. Rudd on the show today. We'll let him start off and give us your thoughts on your boy Frank Castle, aka the Punisher.
I don't know. Starting off, I wasn't really thrilled with the guy that got the casting. Then again, I only seen him in The Walking Dead, which is a more drama-based show than it is anything. So I really didn't have nothing to go with besides that. I'll eat crow on that one. He was great as Frank Castle, the Punisher.
I'm surprised that you would think that.
Yeah, me too. About halfway through the season, I'm like, wow, I was wrong. It did start off incredibly shaky with the character. The first action you see is you don't see him, so there's really nothing to base your opinion of him off at the beginning. You know, he's this guy that everyone's afraid of. But when you first see him, again, it's shaky. They keep throwing around a lot of words like, oh, he's this really grade A Army military-based special forces guy, and then you see him with a sawed-off pump shotgun firing from the hip at civilians because there's one bad guy in the mix in a hospital, and that's not really what they were setting him up to be as. It's saying one thing and then showing me another. But as the series progressed, he really done some deeds.
I want to say I kind of like the Punisher a lot. My overall take on him is they did most of the things right, but my favorite aspect is, I tell everybody, they showed how tough the Punisher is.
Yes.
I mean, holy crap! Can he take a beating? He can get tortured. It does not stop him. He's going to destroy you any means necessary, and that's also if he's got to lose an arm or a leg or a drill through the foot, which is painful as hell.
Yeah. Overall, I was hoping for more of a Punisher like Ray Stevenson's from Warzone, that movie, where he's very cold, calculating, and there's not a lot of vocalization from him. He doesn't talk a lot, but in a series like this, it's hard to do a character like that. He's got to talk.
Yeah, because if the Ray Stevens version was the old Punisher, the guy who went to Vietnam, and by then there's no Frank Castle left. He is the Punisher.
Yeah.
But this, as a series, I forgave that completely because literally this is year 1.
Yeah, you got to have development.
Yeah, he's still out for revenge for the man he was, and he still has memories of what it meant. But so as a year 1 thing, I thought it was well written.
Me too. And like we talked about, by the end of this season, you see that Frank Castle is no more.
Yeah.
And I really like how they tied that up with the character. I thought a really neat little tweak to the character was where he would sing the nursery rhyme that he always sung his daughter.
Yeah, and he never did notice he did it.
Exactly. He never thought about it, and I thought that was really nice. And I'm personally wondering if that's something that will be carried on now that he's burned the house down and he's got rid of himself. I wonder if that's something they'll carry on if he gets his own series.
Okay, I want to ask y'all to get your opinion on it, because I can't like or hate it so far. I don't know how far they're going to go with it, but the fact that during the trial, when they capture him, they have a surgeon come in and it's like, yeah, he got shot in the head. The part of his brain that handles adrenaline, fight or flight, was damaged, and he's constantly in an adrenaline rush.
No, he's constantly aggressive.
Fight or flight.
Yeah.
I personally wasn't thrilled with that, because it takes away from the character's just sheer determination.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's something wrong with his head. It's one of those, like, Dark Man powers. He doesn't feel pain, or his adrenaline's constantly pumping. So, how do y'all guys feel about that?
I wasn't big on that. I'm with you on that. I mean, because, like I said, he's a character that's driven by his past, and eventually, it's more like, well, I'm just doing this because it's what needs to be done. But no, myself, I did not like that. But from that, where they were showing a scan, I like how that's how he got the idea for the skull. Yeah. I really like that. I think that was the actually only good thing that came out of that.
I agree. That's the only good thing came out with the skull. Because if you're going to go on that aspect, you're going to have him adrenaline pump Punisher going around. Punisher, he's a tough son of a bitch, but he also is a very planned. He plans everything
very
out.
Calculated.
And if you're constantly adrenaline pumping, I don't know how you can think all that out. Because he slows down at times to make sure that you die at the end. That's just what the Punisher does.
And going on that with the skull, I thought it was really cool what they did with him, like they did with the season 1 with Daredevil, is he went with the Frank Miller costume, and then the last episode you got the suit. And then here it is, the end of this season, he had no skull until the end on his chest. And I really thought that was a nice touch, because, like you had said, he wasn't the Punisher until the end of this. Like we talked about, where he never called himself during the trial that he was a Punisher, and he's like, that's right, I'm the Punisher, and he was just yelling it. Yeah. And then it's that transition, and I like that at the end, when he knew this was it, he started to wear a skull, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, because most of the season is Frank Castle out for revenge. There's something that took something away from him, and he is going to punish it. But at the end, most people get revenge right off into the sunset, and he's established like there's never going to be an end to this war.
And, well, the Kingpin tells him that your crusade is going to be endless.
Yeah, and the Bourne series is one of my favorite comic book series with the Punisher in it. And at the end, it's like, I will give you a war that never ends, because Frank Castle has to have his war.
Before we move on, so now here in the last 12 years, I would say, we've had 3 different Punishers. We've had 2 in a movie, and then we've had this series. Which is your favorite?
So I have to go with Ray Stevenson, just because, again, it's the whole movie is based off of a couple of the really better runs, like the Welcome Back Frank series and all that. And Ray Stevens pretty much looks like somebody just yanked the cover of the Max Edition.
Yeah, he had a slick back hair and everything. The old look,
grizzled. Yeah, and I mean, looking back on that movie, there were some cheesy parts that they stuck in it. Like the Punisher would never say that. Oh my God, he would die from the cheese. But again, just sheer aesthetics, he looked the best. I wasn't a big fan of the original, the Punisher skull from the original movie.
Yeah, that you see
the commissary, not the Dorf.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, let's just not talk about that one. They did not exist around the Marvel Studio area. So, but if you see it, you should just watch it just to say you have.
Just to see how far we come.
Yes. What about you, Evan?
I don't know which one of my favorite Punishers would be. I guess if you held me down and made me pick, I would like the look of the Punisher from the Max series, and I like the talkative points of this Punisher on the Netflix series. I feel like, because you had to make him talk, and he, at first, I was like, but then he actually grew on the character, and he can hold a conversation. And the other one is less conversation, more kill you.
See, I'm with Mike. I like the Ray Stevenson's Punisher.
He's good.
We knew he was going to get this after season 2, and he actually is part of Marvel. He plays Volstagg in the Thor movies. I was really hoping they would have got him for this role, but I am perfectly fine with John Berthel, whatever his name is, Shane from The Walking Dead, who should have stayed alive, and they should kill Rick.
He's my favorite character in Walking Dead. He's dead.
All right, next other big character, which you knew was eventually going to come, was Elektra. Your thoughts on Elektra?
Whoever cast Lodi Young, I think her name, and forgive me, I probably butchered that name, should be given an award.
I agree.
Because, my God, can that woman play off killer assassin / psychopath sadist. I mean, there wasn't a part where in the show I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I'm looking at an actor doing a bit. The whole time I'm like, wow, Elektra's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Evan?
Man, Elektra is my favorite character of the season, season 2. And the fact that you can get a woman who looks like that, who can act that sexy, act assassin, kill, murder, train, it's everything you want to put in it for a badass woman who's an assassin. They did a terrific job. Her backstory's good. Her relationship with Matt was awesome. And then when you found out it was planned, which we'll talk about that later, it was just more awesome. You can't do a better job. And there's haters out there, and I'm just going to put two birds in that chick,
yeah,
because she's perfect for this role. You can't get nobody else better.
I agree with that. It's very Frank Miller, Man Without Fear miniseries Elektra, where she's very uppity, and she's got that crazy factor, like you said. And I really like that because it's very different from Matt himself.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot you can play with there. Personally, what I liked about it is her physical appearance. I mean, because you look at comic chicks, and it's all hips and tits. And when you expect someone like this, who's supposed to be like her, you expect what she looked like to be that small frame, not a lot of mass to her. Yeah. And I'm glad they didn't go with the costume from the comics.
Yeah.
I like how she had the little ninja guard. She just pull up the mask. It fit. It was very, very realistic. And I'm glad they didn't go with that dark, serious toned Elektra, because she brought a lot of color to especially action scenes, just talking and whatnot.
I think they did a really good job with her being the high class lady, which is what you want from an assassin. She could easily be at a ball gala, she could easily be at a photo shoot, or she could be sneaking in through a small vent to stab you in the neck with a scythe.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, we've talked about the characters. Let's talk about a lot of the good things that come out of the season, because you still got Karen Page, you still got Foggy, you still got Matt himself. To a lot of our surprise, the Kingpin returned.
Yes.
I wasn't completely surprised.
I was. I didn't think they would.
I was surprised they brought him in that early. I thought he'd be like in the season stinger, like, I'm back, bitches!
And one, I thought he would be in there not as long either. That was like maybe 3 episodes that he was in there. Pretty solid.
Yeah, well, the one was pretty much about him.
So, let's break down what we thought was good. Evan, you want to start off?
Yeah, man. We'll start off with our good list. One of the things I really liked in it, I liked it, but it has questions, which we'll talk about, is the development of Karen Page. In the first season, she was alright, but I kind of didn't like her. In this season, you get to see her almost transform into basically somebody who didn't know what the hell she was doing. She still don't know what she's doing, but she's getting more progressive into the information. She's you get to see her kind of chase the Punisher, his history around, find out where he lives, get in there, find out everything about him. You get to see her, eventually go work for what's the newspaper? Yeah.
Not the Daily Bugle. Even though I wish they were the Daily Bugle. Whatever, the New York Bulletin.
Yeah, she goes and works for the Bulletin, and she takes her basically one of her friend's spot that died last season.
Orange.
Yeah, Orange. Kingpin killed him.
Surprise murder from the first season.
When you take a character like that, and then you work your way all the way up, and you get put in the bullpen, the same room he was in, and you start investigating shit. He called it. We'll talk about it later. Kingpin might kill her.
Well, what's great about that he's brought up is in the first season, what got her in trouble is her strong suit to this season.
She won't give up on nothing.
Well, it's snooping around, because she was so worried that they were going to kill her, and they were trying to, and now she's used that to her advantage in this season. And it's really nice to see what's a weakness of a character turn to a strength.
I don't know, I like Deborah Wool, so I mean I can't really find too many faults.
Jessica, I like it. So.
Yeah, but I enjoyed that she had a more prominent, like she wasn't like constantly, I'm the victim, save me in this one.
No.
And she really kind of pulled herself up by the bootstraps. I don't know. They're kind of doing a lot of mystery with her, and it's getting thin. Like I want something meaty and chewy to go with, not. I'm a mysterious girl from Wisconsin or whatever.
Where he showed her the file over it had been built.
Yeah, he walks in and there's like he's like, I haven't touched anything in his office, and she looks down and what was it? Local teen dies in
car crash,
accident or something,
and she's upset. Yeah,
and but there's always seems to be something more like that wasn't just a car accident. That's why I think they might do something with her. But so right now they're too elusive about it. Like either give me something or tell me there's not going to be anything. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, it's plot for later on. I think eventually, once the Kingpin gets out, we know it's gonna. When he finds out what he needs to know, that's something he's gonna hang over her head.
Yeah.
And maybe when we get to what we want to see later on, that's something that could easily be brought up because it's going to play an effect in the show. She also had a pretty good relationship with the Punisher. She's the person that basically had almost all the interaction that wasn't fighting with the Punisher in the show. And I like how they done that and how she was very. Well, her and Matt was talking, and she kind of agreed that it needed to be done, and then she was shocked that she said it.
Yeah, that was one of the things I really wasn't thrilled about her character because she was literally so back and forth. Like at one point she's like, "Yeah, the Punisher's doing what needs to be done," and then the next episode she's like, "Oh, I don't think the Devil of Hell's Kitchen's right. Who's he to decide?" And it's like, he just punches people in the face. This guy's putting 5.56 through people. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean,
you couldn't tell the difference between their styles. Death.
But I thought that was a good way to relate and push the Punisher's story along while you had Matt running around with Elektra.
Yeah.
It gave you a nice little medium there for like, well, here's Elektra and Matt, and then here's Foggy, her, and the Punisher with that side of the story.
One thing I did like about her, well, I didn't like it and I did like it, is she gets in a relationship with Matt, and then all of a sudden she shows up and Elektra's there. I thought that was awesome because she didn't have no idea, and she's starting to get an idea of what the hell Matt's doing.
Well, so I actually had a problem with that one too because so far we've showed that Karen Page is really empathetic.
Yeah.
She gets inside the Punisher's headspace. She understands. She doesn't like what he does, but she understands where it comes from. And we see that all the way through the season when she gets people their life is in danger. She's like, "No, I'm here to help you. I understand you're afraid. Let us help you. Maybe we can do something." So she's really empathetic, but. Again, that one seemed really forced because she comes in, doesn't want an explanation. There's a crazy old guy with like ancient mysticism potion over here who's also blind.
Yeah.
And a hot woman who looks incredibly sick and wounded in a bed. And she's like, "You must be sleeping with that woman. That's why she looks so bad." I don't know what the old guy's here for, but no.
All the shit she's been through, you think she would ask questions instead of just get mad and storm off like a normal person.
And then they just kind of drop it like, "Oh, I guess they're not going out anymore." I mean, she shoots him down later, but I mean, it's just like, can I get some finality or?
Well, you kind of had some there towards the end. I mean, he entered the mask or helmet, however you want to call it.
I forgot he did that.
Yeah, at the end of the season. So you don't think that makes up for everything?
I think it does a good chunk of pulling all the strings together, but it's a stinger, it's a teaser. They're like, what is she going to do? Oh, it's the end of the season, crap.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought that was really good because the main crux of Daredevil in this season is Daredevil is catching up with Matt Murdock.
Yes.
He's burning both ends of the candles and he's running out of wax.
Man, it's almost like he's forced to do it. Like he knows if he wants to be with her, he's got a choice.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the right choice?
No.
Yes
and no.
Why?
The right choice because if he wants to be with her, she's going to have to know. Wrong choice because as soon as if people find out that you're ever Matt Murdock, she's going to be a hostage. She's going to be dead. I mean, they're going to be gunning for her, especially if they find out if that's whoever he's in a relationship with at the time.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Might have signed her death wish.
From Matt Murdock's perspective, he should just like let Foggy Nelson, let Karen Page, let all of them go, distance himself as far as he can, because at this point he knows he is in Kingpin's crosshairs. So distance would be their best defense. And the thing with the helmet is like, wow, she's tied in now. There's nothing, you ain't getting out of this one.
It was just you and Foggy, and not you, Foggy, and Karen.
So, kind of based on how she's called in, when I was thinking about that, to me, I feel like they have turned them two into Spider-Man and Mary Jane in its own sins.
This is hope not Gwen Stacy.
Oh man, let's hope she don't turn into Gwen Stacy.
Right there, you're right, it will be.
Oh well.
I don't know, we might get a cool alternate universe where she's Daredevil.
Oh yeah, that man, you say that, and now that is so going to happen. Someone's going to watch this now, and they're going to be like, man, Gwen Devil. Or, wait, Karen Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to point this out, they've already did it.
Oh, fuck. Come on. Another good thing that I thought with, in the story, because feed off of what's going on and being caught up into is, where Punisher met the Kingpin in prison. So I was very surprised that he showed up. I don't know why I didn't think about that. That, man, while he's in prison, he's going to meet him. And before we get wrapped up in that, just Kingpin's story in the prison, how they kind of backtracked a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only room for one Kingpin in this prison.
Yeah, he finally got his name. I was like, wow, season 2, like, way to go. That's some restraint in a writer, like, really going, like, everyone knows his character, but his name's not going to be said until season 2.
So I thought that was really nice because, you know, his lawyer was like, hey, you've got to lay low here. And he was like, all right. And then he does what he always does. Lets everybody else gets their hands dirty. And he takes his time with it. It's very methodical. And I really like that he can't be the kingpin of crime in New York yet while he's in prison, but he's slowly building it up. And you keep that character fresh. You still keep him around without having him in the main story. I thought that was really, really nice.
Yeah, that was good.
Now, you add that, you add the Punisher to the mix, and you're a big Punisher fan. Do you honestly think that Frank would do something like that, like take that offer, being in the position he was in?
Being in the position in, it's one of those, I think,
I agree.
100%, because you've seen it when, after everything goes south, we get the new, better hallway scene featuring Frank Castle.
Yeah.
And he's beat up, he knows he's in a position that he cannot win this fight, and then from a golden saucer from the sky comes this opportunity is, you can get out and you can go punish other people because it makes my life better. Kingpin thinks he has everything under control. Frank Castle thinks he has everything under control, and they both react to men who believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because as a Punisher's beat up, he can get through pain, but there's nothing he can do through weakness. And you see it when he lays hand on Kingpin, and Kingpin beats him down. And there's no advantage Frank Castle has in this fight, so he rolls with the punches till he's stronger and can come back. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, man. I just remember when that scene happened, I was just like, holy hell, he's going to beat him into his life. And my favorite part about the whole development when he meets Kingpin and he sends him to the hallway. He's like, well, you go here, this is the guy I need you to talk to, and he wants to kill him. He winds up going through that hallway, and then they have, like he said, the more improved Punisher hallway scene. But my favorite part about that is the Kingpin is watching it take place, and then by him watching, he knows this is the guy I'm letting loose. I think it put a, I don't know what you want to say, Kingpin knew he made the right decision. Because now he's in prison, this guy's going to be out and he's going to get rid of all his competition.
And then he'll be right back in his
Yep.
Now,
Kind of a weekend game, though, because
then he can't take him.
he has to take him out afterwards.
well, here's my
Unless he has another plan.
I was sitting there watching this, and I thought, this is great because I honestly think when because Frank is he's gonna wait for him to get out. He's gonna start setting that plan in motion.
Yeah.
He has that bulletin sitting on the table by his bed every day. He looks at
I
it.
don't think that's for the Kingpin. I think that's for Vanessa when she comes back to the country. That's what he's gonna do to the Kingpin to bring him down.
Yeah. That would be awesome, and it's totally in line with the character.
Exactly.
Because she was evil. You see that, she sees all the stuff he does, like, oh, it's okay, you're just evil, I'm rich, let's do this. So, again, there was the series where the Punisher goes back and kills all the mob wives of all the mob bosses he's ever took out, and it's like, oh, he's not restricted by, men shouldn't hit women. It's like, well, you're evil, he punished you.
Yeah.
End of story.
But see, that's how I see that playing out. Like, you're gonna go do all this work for me, and then I know you're gonna be waiting for me, like he expects it. And I don't see when this continues on in the next seasons where Frank automatically comes out and attacks him. He's gonna wait for him to get what's most precious to him, and then take it from him. And then because he knows that's going to set the Kingpin off, and then that's his start to fighting that war. And honestly, right now there's a debate that. Is he going to have his own series, The Punisher?
Yeah.
I love The Punisher, but he is, video and TV kryptonite. Because there has to be flaws in the character for people to identify with. And as we said, year one Punisher, yeah, he talks a lot. But later on, the Punisher never speaks, he doesn't make friends, he sits down, he plots out the kill, he watches, then he hunts.
Yeah.
And that would be so hard to translate over into TV, where something has to be happening all the time.
And you say that, and it's also to the point in comics where it's very hard to do that too, because it's almost the same thing over and over and over. Now, I think giving him just one series would be really nice, especially if they tied into what's going on in Hell's Kitchen in New York, okay, we're going to do this one-shot series. And and it's a good setup with the Kingpin because that's what the Punisher does. It could just be him taking down the Kingpin or fighting the Kingpin if they ever want to take him down. Because I can't see him having 3 or 4 seasons to himself.
Yeah, like a good 4 or 5 episode miniseries would be right up there.
And I think that's something that Marvel and Netflix need to start doing, especially to build preludes to movies. Not to get off topic here because we can talk about that all day. But it's hard to see him having a long-lasting show.
Yeah, but you can't put him up against Kingpin because it's Daredevil territory.
Yeah,
but that's easily remedied by, hey, who's the guy going to start leading up to getting the kingdom ready for the Kingpin to come back, and the Punisher harassing him like, oh, you made a mistake when you put me out here.
Yeah, it'd be a great tie-in for
Bushwhacker.
Daredevil season 3. It'd be great. Yeah, just stuff like that. You got your little DC listers. No one cares about that. You could easily kill off, and no one's gonna be offended. You also, speaking of stepping on Daredevil's toes, the relationship with him and the Punisher. It's great because they have the same goals. They just can't get along.
Yeah.
And I thought they really did a great job of explaining that because if you ever read the guys in the comics, every time there's a crossover, Frank's like, God, why are you in my way? And Matt's like, hey, I can't let you do this. But there's always some team up, and it always ends up bad for one of them.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things is, Punisher doesn't carry anything with him. He's out there to do his job, and his job is putting bad guys in the ground. Then you got Matt Murdock, who he wants bad people to get punished, but he wants them to understand the punishment.
Yeah.
And maybe not be evil, but I think that was too much of that because all the way through the season there's no killing, no killing, which led to a hilarious part when they're fighting the Irish where Punisher's torn up, tortured to death, on death's door, and still fighting these guys. Every time he picks up a gun, Daredevil throws something and knocks it out of his hand.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great, but it wore thin, around episode 8.
Yeah, it gets tired, but they did a really good job of bringing it together, though.
Yeah.
We just talk about that, and it's kind of, we together have a love-hate for it, as we talk about. You get this mix of them. With the end of the season, you get that fight at the end, which the Hand is really introduced in this season. It's kind of your overall theme with Elektra and Daredevil, and we talk about the Punisher and how you guys were, expecting something else out of that, like the big blow-up, if you'd like to take away here.
Well, it's the climax. It's the end of the season. You go big, and the way they did it just kind of didn't leave a great taste in my mouth because he shows up, he pops 2 guys, and then he salutes Daredevil and rides off into the moonset. I thought that wasn't enough, or it should have been completely left out. We should have completely left it down to either Daredevil and Elektra doing a final stand, or we should have done, we're boned. Oh, here's the Punisher bringing the heavy artillery.
Yeah, because there was all them hand ninjas just assembling on that building.
And it's that's, against everything, the ninjas training, you read in comic books, they're stealthy, they use cover and all that. But you got 50 ninjas standing out in the open. You either make Daredevil a boss-ass hero by beating every single one of them down, or you make the Punisher the most epic wingman ever. He gets up there with that GE minigun and saws them down, and in the chaos, Daredevil and the head guy fight.
See, that's what I was expecting. But they seen him staring at it,
so much cooler.
They didn't do it, though. They were just like, hey, Pop, I'm still here. Look forward to season 3, and just gone. But I gotta say, Kevlar, Skull.
See, I personally did not want him to interfere in that because that's not his part of the story.
Yeah.
And it would have been just nice with Elektra and Daredevil fighting the Hand and then going toe-to-toe with Naboo. Now, the fight that they choreographed there was really good. And I don't have a problem with Punisher taking a couple of shots. I can see where he's like, well, you scratched my back, and I'm going to scratch your back here. Just a little. But no, overall, I wish he just wasn't there.
See, I think it's just enough because he, I don't know what the relationship, why he went after Daredevil, because they do the big speech here, one bad day from Big Me. I think it's him looking for backup. It's like, hey, there's something about you. If you put people on the ground, me and you can do wonders.
Yeah, I
think that was just his final, because there's the part where Daredevil's like, hey, just this once, the sign of the cross says, maybe we do it your way. And the Punisher tells him, like, no, this isn't 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If we do it like this, we do it like this.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe the shots were almost a way to keep Matt involved when he knows this war with the Kingpin's coming?
Yeah, I really think it is, because I don't think it's nothing friendly about it. He lets him know he's there. He lets him know this is what I do, and you're gonna owe me.
Yeah.
And when the time comes, he's like, I don't want one foot in, 1 foot out. We are going to be committed. And I think that's kind of why the scene works. But again, I would have my preferences if, want destruction.
Me, I wish it could be in there or it can be out of there, but I wish the mole thing would happen where he just gets the gun. And plus, I don't know if anybody else noticed this when I watched it, when they're like him and Electra's in there and they're waiting to go to the roof, it looks like there's like 500 ninjas up there.
Yeah,
they're all running down. They
everywhere.
get up there, and I'm like, there's a lot of ninjas, but there ain't as many as I thought I saw running. And I was kind of disappointed.
It'd have been great if they all showed up on the roof and like, from a studio version, you could literally just take 10 guys, spread them out, and then Photoshop in 90 more. It'd have been real easy.
I wish there was more there. If there would have been more there, then he would have mowed them down. It would have been awesome. But you kind of needed him there at the end to kind of show the skull and everything, and to give the Daredevil, hey, you owe me. But at the same time, I get where Mike's like, leave it out. I would have went with the mow down scene, and then let him and Naboo fight.
See, I would be fine with that if, like, when they're like, well, we're going to go up here and die together.
Yeah.
And we're going to run off if we live. And then you'd hear, and then be like, what the hell?
Yeah, like, that's the Punisher talking about there, like, you do a half measure. I kind of feel like this was a half measure.
Yeah.
Like, either let it be epic as Daredevil does his last stand and succeeds, or let it be epic by letting him know that he has a friend in New York that doesn't do what he wants him to do, but still has his back. And we kind of got a little bit from both, which didn't equal out to a whole.
And, and to go off with the whole, he could have just mowed him down. Because there's parts in that scene, if you watch it, it's very, very Power Ranger-like to me. They're fighting hand ninjas, and you get them onto the background. Like, wait my turn. Wait my turn to jump in. And to me, it'd been so much better just to have them wasted instead of like, and I'm just sitting there watching it. I'm like,
Puncher starts shooting them in the head.
and it'd been better than just a couple of shots because, when you talk about the new hallway scene, from Punisher, where he's in the cell, and then you had the badass scene going down the stairs in this, and then the first season is known for that one shot in the hallway scene. That was one continuous shot. And then you watch this fight, and you if you pay attention, you'll just see them guys. And I thought, man, that's a way to ruin this show that's had such badass action in it. And then you just got them ninjas.
Yeah. But see, that's the weird thing about this isn't nothing to do with the writing or the characters. This was pure cinematography. At the beginning of the season, of course, you have to have the the nuances of Daredevil. He's blind, so things are dark. In the new Daredevil hallway scene where he's going down the stairwell, he's taking out lights. But you get like this blue night filter kind of thing. Well, you can tell there's literally lights on, but it's a dark filter.
Yeah.
You see everything. I don't know if they changed guys or what, but like halfway through the season, the cinematography just got dark, and it wasn't like, okay, Matt Murdock's blind, kind of like we did a good version of that at the beginning where you could still see everything like Daredevil can. Yeah. But it was just like I remember watching. I'm like, I don't know if he's winning this fight or not. I just see elbows and hear cloth hitting.
From time to time, I don't think I'd be upset with something like that as long as it was quick. Like takes out the lights and they do make it pitch black, and you get the whole and then it's over real quick.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. I think, in a sense, you might need something like that to speed the story up in a series like this, especially to where this season was, because there was so much stuff going on just to speed the process. If I'd been fine with that.
Let's say that's why I don't think it was done on purpose. Like the night filter was on purpose. But I think somebody just goofed and make the scenes too dark. Because, I'm fine with hearing grunts and smacks for 15 seconds. And then a door opens up and you see a mass of bodies and bloody Daredevil walking away. But this was like a full 2 or 3 minutes of a fight scene. And like every once in a while you see like Daredevil get in front of a window and you would see him. And then he would start fighting it. And then it's just shadows fighting each other. And I'm like, I think somebody's turned the dial down too low.
Probably the last good thing we were talking about, and then what's bad is, well, to me it's bad in a sense because they're not doing enough of it, is Foggy being a lawyer. And you were talking about Evan before he started doing this. They really showed him off in this season. Matt's not being around, like you mentioned. He's burning both candles at the end, being Daredevil and being a lawyer. it's really coming in. And Foggy really carried the show during all that. And to me, that was probably the best part of the show where, I thought towards the middle it bogged down a little. He was the guy that made it interesting.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm Matt Murdock now.
Yeah.
That the whole court scene was cool because Matt not showing up and Foggy having to take the stand and do the opening speech, and he was so pissed off at Matt after that, but he delivered, and it got noticed because then you got your Jessica Jones tie-in later on with what's her name? She comes to talk to him.
Yeah.
She comes and she's like, "No, you might have lost, but that was a terrific, opening segment for court," and kind of offers him a job. I'm pretty sure. I really liked all that Foggy stuff. He really showed that he's a great lawyer. He's great in court. All those scenes were really good. He did it all, not Matt. And then you flip it around, and the things I didn't like about Foggy is what we're talking about. Is he's very repetitive on just hounding Matt about being Daredevil. He's like, well, you wasn't here and I can do this. If you wasn't doing that, you can do this. And it's like, well, he's Daredevil and the shittiest shit right now. I just didn't want to see too much of that.
Yeah, and they kept bringing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. He doesn't want him to do that. He wants him to quit, though.
I guess that makes sense. Is your friend? If he was my friend, you'd probably keep going at me trying to get me to stop doing it.
No, look, we're your friends. If we were Daredevil, you'd be all about it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Evan on that one because it's one thing to constantly like him just being sad over a drink going, oh, I'm really worried about Matt. But there was no need to like every episode dedicate 5 minutes to Foggy going, stop it, you're going to die. Daredevil, I know I'm going to die. But you're going to die. And 1 or 2 times, yeah, but it took way too long for him. Like at the end, he's like, listen, I don't care anymore. I'm trying to pull you off the tracks. Keep jumping in front of the train. And he did get a bit old.
Yeah, from time to time, but I feel like I'm completely with you. Once or twice is fine.
Yeah.
But, don't make that Foggy's theme through a whole season.
Yeah.
I need you. Stop being Daredevil. You're going to die. Well, we realize. And, I thought that was great about just that one section with him with the Punisher trial is it really showcased him as a character. And it's not the whole, hey, I need you to do this. It's like, here's something for the character.
Yeah.
And let's really show off what this character is about. And then they go right back to the nagging thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was super good immersion because you watch the show, you get into it, and when he's desperately looking around for Matt to come in, and then he has to get up there and talk in front of everybody, I'm like, oh my god, I'm nervous for him.
Yes.
And then at the end, like, he sits down on the bench and he's just flop sweat, and Karen comes up, like, oh, you did great. He's like, did I? That was all panic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm going to miss is because of what the season 2 towards the end they're kind of separating. Is you ain't going to get them 3 going to Lucy's or whatever no more. When they all get together at the bar, I really like that scene of it's like a hole in the wall, but that's where they go. Nobody bothers them. And every time they're like shit's good for them, is they're at a bar getting hammered. It's just kind of cool. The next day they go back to work and they hit the field again.
Well, it's
kind of losing that.
Well, it's that fun undertone to such a serious, dark thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is kind of sad because that's where you kind of get to see Foggy and Matt's good side of their relationship. The thing that they've always been known for,
But shouldn't that really mess Matt Murdock up because he uses his sense of hearing to keep his balance?
Yeah, you would think. Well, but it'd be nice if they go back where they first started going to bars and watch him train himself. I mean, yeah, that you would think that, but now he's trained. That would be a nice little flashback right there.
Foggy's cheering him on, like, yeah, look at Matt breakdance. He's like, no, he's just looking.
Yeah, he's like, and that would be a nice little touch. See, that's one thing that I think's bad is you're not getting enough flashbacks because. In season 1, you got the little flashbacks of them in college where they mention Elektra. Yeah. And I would hope that you would get more flashbacks of them to help you show that relationship building more when they're in college, Because if you read Frank Miller's Man Without Fear miniseries, like, they really touch on their college days a lot, and how Foggy's always getting picked on, and then Matt in the middle of the night is putting on that black mask and going and beating these dudes down because they're bullies. I think the show really needs more of that flashback to show why these guys are so tight-knit.
There's something else that kind of bothered me with this season was first season we got to see the world on fire, what it looks like to Matt Murdock.
Yes.
I would love to see some more of that, like you saying, like the scene where it just goes dark and you hear stuff. I would like to see where you're the bad guys, everything goes dark, and then something in the shadows keeps beating you up. I would like to see that through Mad Mark's eyes.
Like where they got, like, just watching them get hit.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Predator 2 where they're in the meat packaging plant and they're all watching through the cameras. You just see them getting stabbed by the Predator and stuff.
Yeah. And like, maybe they toned it down because they're trying to put, you know, the Punisher and Matt Murdock, a man with literal superpowers.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep them on the same level. Maybe they try to tone down the he actually has superpowers department. But I'd like to see it as he's not just a strong guy that can box and do karate. I'd like to see he's like legitimately man without fear because he can see all around him at all times.
But maybe in a sense they don't show that so much because they want to distance itself from the movie though.
Yeah.
Because that was real thick in that first movie.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if we wanted to see man beats up man. I mean,
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you,
Yes.
but I could see where they would want to separate themselves. from
Yeah,
that.
I can understand, and that's why I said don't do it all the time. Don't show him like dodging bullets because he can sense where the heat of the barrel of the gun is or anything like that. But you know, we got the awesome scene after a really poor scene where he gets shot in the head by the Punisher after so many spoilers from the Punisher that he was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, man who dodges bullets can't dodge bullets is a horrible thematic element, but he had a concussion, and a part of a concussion is you sometimes really bad concussions cause you to lose hearing or have ringing in your ears as nerve endings are connecting, and literally he goes deaf and loses his shit.
And I like how they just drop that off really quick too, in a way.
Well, yeah, you get over concussions. I understand that.
Yeah, but see, I like where that would play if they'd have played that into more where he is Daredevil though, and fighting and something like that happened to him.
See, that's too big of an exploitable weakness that they could like just throw in anytime. It's like, oh, I'm in the middle of a fight, concussion kicking in, I can't fight now. And I really did like the second time they go against her where he's got the welded helmet on, and they're going square to square, and then all of a sudden he loses his hearing.
Yeah.
And so that's good for a one-off exploitable weakness, but yeah, I'm glad they showed, like, that's a real world thing, concussions. How would that affect somebody that solely, like, uses one sense other than everybody else? And I enjoyed that because concussions suck.
Yes. One other thing that comes bad, because you want to talk about head trauma, is the song between Punisher and Karen. Oh man, that just rubbed me the wrong way so much.
Yeah, I forgot about it. Like I think it was like repressed memory. I'm like, oh, that seems so forced.
Man, and it was, but the way it came back to play off later was really nice when the general takes her, because that kind of caught me off. Phil, I was really excited. I'm like, hell yeah, the Kurgan's in this show. I was like, awesome. He's the captain of Punisher. That's great. And then he turns out to be a bad guy. That kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Like as it's like linking together for Karen, it's linking together for me. I'm like,
Yeah, she is screwed. And the thing is, you don't ever think about it because where they do the boat scene and the guy says Frank, he calls him out, and you're like, how does this guy know that dude's name? You know, how does he know him? And you don't think about it, and then like I was just like you. When she's piecing together, you're piecing it, and when she's like, oh shit, you're like, oh shit. You know, she's in a bad spot. And but it was nice though, even though I thought that was horrible, is when he puts her in the car, she turns on the radio, it's almost a signal, and she knows that Frank was around, like, oh god, he's here too.
And what is he in this here, like 35?
I would say, yeah, that's about a good age.
Isn't that song even kind of still old for him?
Don't you listen to old songs?
Yeah, but none of them's like my mantra or anything.
Oh,
like,
but, well, I mean, maybe it's a military
like if she got in the
thing.
car and like turned it on and Fight for Your Right started playing or something like that, I'd understand. But
Oh well,
some
I
Beastie
mean,
Boys, maybe some Run DMC.
well, in a way, you got to think though they were trying to show you that he was a more up tempo type of person before everything, you know. So it kind of makes sense. Horrible song though to choose.
Yeah.
Very very horrible song. But you know, unless anybody else has anything that they thought was bad, I mean, that's basically about all we thought was bad for the series. If anything comes to mind, feel free to. Here's your chance.
I don't have any more bad.
I guess so.
Okay, spit it out.
All right. Towards the end, there's a fight scene between the band where Daredevil can't hear their heartbeats and can't
Yeah,
hear
because they're masking it.
Yeah, they're masking all that. There's a part where Elektra goes to kill a guy, and his one rule that he has with her is like, oh, no killing. I can understand that from the point of view fighting New York thugs, firing hired goons. They're just in it for the money. They got to provide for the kids. But if you're fighting ninjas that are assassins raised from birth, the no killing rule doesn't apply. And as it happens, Elektra gets stabbed with a poison sword.
He does get her stab at it now.
Yeah.
And she never, like, that would be a point. I'm like, you're stupid, and I almost died because of it. They don't bring anything of that up. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Punch all these ninjas out? They're gonna wake up with a sword job and, oh, you know what? I'm getting an engineer degree. Screw this lifelong training to be an assassin. It doesn't make any sense. And even as no killing, you could still snap a bone that would keep somebody from ever doing ninjutsu jumps anymore.
Well, see, technically, to me, they could have killed them all they want because, in my eyes, they were already dead.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
Because he's like, oh, they're masking their heartbeat. And I'm like, no, they're hand ninjas. They're already dead. And then they kind of show you that later on with Naboo once he gets tossed off the building.
Well, then they show you before that with the... That's the thing. The nurse. Nurse's name.
I cannot tell you.
Midnight Nurse.
Night Nurse.
Books.
I call her Night Nurse.
Let's call her Night Nurse. Because I think that's what she's going to become now.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson in it. She literally has a hypocritical oath that says, I shall do no harm. She's a medical professional. She has that oath. Ninjas come after her, she drops kicks them out of a window.
No, that was great.
And it's like, she has a literal oath on paper not to kill. Daredevil is just kind of winging it, and he's like, oh yeah, evil ninjas. I'm going to punch them until they respect civilized living. It's like, no, dude, no.
Since we're on there, talking about what we want to see later on these seasons, is she going to become Night Nurse? I mean, since she gave it up,
yeah, I really think she would. After season 1, Jessica Jones, we had her being the only one figuring out how to get the fluid pressure off Pyro Man's skull. Right there, that's the second one she's had. Eventually, they're going to keep flocking to her, and she's like, you know what? Some of these guys got to have money. And I think she'll be like, okay, I'm going to end up helping these guys anyways. Why not get somebody to help me out?
She needs a raise.
From a certain industry. Rand Industry, I hear they hire a lot of different people.
oh, man, don't get me started.
Would they?
I'm so excited.
Would they bankroll a nurse?
I don't know why they wouldn't. Well, to bring her, since we're on the subject of her, in the comics, she has had a long-standing relationship, like sexually, with Doctor Strange. You think maybe she'll show up Doctor Strange, or have they? Because there's been talks that they've already cast someone. I don't remember who it was that they thought was going to be Night Nurse. And I'm hoping that they don't, and really, because to me, this is who they're pushing to do that. And he's got a really strong ties with that character. So maybe, hopefully, she'll be Doctor Strange, even though I haven't looked at casting. Try to stay away from that, like on IMDb or whatever. So maybe she'll show up in Doctor Strange. Maybe she'll show up in Civil War for some reason. Maybe Cap and them are going to be running to her for medical aid.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That happened in the first Civil War, didn't it? She joined Captain.
Yeah, I do believe so. Yeah, because of how she was. Yeah.
But see, that's like, I think that would stretch the character way too thin because she's been in Jessica Jones.
She's been in
2 seasons of Daredevil.
She's been in all the Netflix Marvel
Yeah, but that is also even though we know they're tied, it is a good transition, though.
Well, see,
because eventually someone's got to show up in one of these movies.
Yeah, that's why I think Doctor Strange showing up in the series would be a really good. Basically, he could show up in Luke Cage or something like that.
I'm hoping he shows up in Iron Fist because
that would make sense.
Because they're kind of tied. Yes, they're very tied, and they know each other very well.
Which, off subject, mysticism showing up in the Marvel universe where only technology has existed.
I cannot wait because we have talked about this before when we talked about Iron Man. That's your big thing in Marvel: science versus magic. And Hank Pym's always like, magic's just a science we haven't explained yet, and Doctor Strange is always like, no. Wrong.
We actually got a bit of this in Daredevil season 2 where the hand soldiers, they kill one and they bring him into the hospital to perform the autopsy, and he already has autopsy marks that have healed up. So are we going to get like another, it's a Kree machine that brings humans back to life?
I don't think we will.
Are we actually going to see some magic?
I think you are. I will. At the end of Daredevil, you've got Elektra. They put her in the looks like big demon jug. And, there's your mysticism. Naboo dying has died twice. There's your mysticism right there.
Again, though, it could...
Because Daredevil, the books are tied in a lot of that stuff, especially when it comes to the hand.
See, I'm hoping they do. I hope mysticism starts playing a role. But the thing, they could easily write it off like, Kree tech, nanomachines.
I don't think they will, though. You've had your bit of magic within Thor, but I think...
Well, it's not magic. It's it's always advanced technology.
Shut up. Well, it's not. To us, it never is. But I think...
I agree with you on that one.
I think Marvel is now to the point where they know they have to because... God, this is totally off topic, but we're already on it.
Ninjas, we can bring it back around.
Yeah. You've got Doctor Strange coming up, and honestly, I think that's probably going to be the best comic book movie this year.
just give all the awards to the costume designer right now.
Oh my God, yeah. What come out
Yes.
yesterday?
Oh.
Beautiful. God, beautiful. You know, throwing them around. But yeah, I think Marvel has no choice. And I think it's not really a choice that now they want to, because you've been so Iron Man heavy. And then you even look at tech, because almost every hero now has tech. You've got Iron Man, there's Captain America's shield, you've got the Stingers with Black Widow, you've got War Machine, you've got Hawkeye's bow. I mean, you've got so much tech floating around. Yeah, it's that time for that to happen.
You got
And I
Scarlet
think
Witch.
Marvel, yeah, well, they haven't said that
advanced
she's magic.
technology.
Yeah, it's, that's Hydra, yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully maybe with Captain America, they're going to break that and be like, no, it's not. This was actually in her.
Maybe Strange, whenever they meet up, that's when he'll tell her, no, that's magic.
See, they kind of have to prep us for magic existing, because they've literally been showing us like, oh, we thought it was tech, but it was just advanced civilizations, and any technology advanced enough would look like magic.
Yeah.
And if they don't prep us right now, it's going to literally take Tony Stark and Doctor Strange talking, going, yeah, magic. He's like, no, advanced technology. Doctor Strange's like, no, look, I have Agamotto, magic.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark's going to go, no, technology. And then Dormammu is going to have to rip open the dimensional rift and go, no, magic! Before any of us will go, okay, magic.
I want that. I really do. I want like a 2.5 hour movie of that.
I'd put my money down for a ticket for that, yeah.
And then if, well, like, read our review, Invincible Iron Man, the first book, that's basically what's going on.
Yeah.
Is Tony going to Strange for help, because now he's involved with magic. He's got Doctor Doom there with him now. Well, he's not Doctor Doom, he's Victor Von Doom now. If you haven't read that, really need to read
I've been reading Invincible Iron Man, and he looks like a Oxford English professor.
Some other things look towards the future is, I brought this up to Evan, I didn't say anything to you when you got here. To me, and I think it's in the show, the Kingpin knows that he's Daredevil now. I think you look at the
He has
scene,
an idea, yeah.
I think he's gathering it. And I think with the combination of him telling Karen Page, that's going to get really bad, because he didn't catch on to it. And I brought up, I was like, did you see that as the Kingpin start to put together that he knows? He's like, no. It's like, well, you got to think, he uppercutted him once at the end. He's like,
Open the war file.
yeah, where have I? This is familiar. So, and then you add that with him showing Karen that he's Daredevil. You look at Reborn, you go Jessica Jones, you got Nuke, because he's Nuke, there's no doubt about it. And that's Nuke's first appearances in Reborn. So hopefully in the future, we get something like that. You've got Captain America already. Captain America shows up in that story.
Yeah. See, I think that would be a really good direction to go with Daredevil, because right now we expect him like, oh yeah, no killing, punchy, gotcha. But I would like to see him go to the extreme to protect Foggy and Karen.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he leads the Punisher to Vanessa or whatever.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because we already we seen the fear in him when he gets out, and all the guards are not looking him in the eye. The lawyer's like, hey, you fell down, you slipped, you're a blind guy, you run this stuff all the time. And he sees how quickly that whatever he did to Kingpin has not took effect.
Yeah.
Because you just moved him to a different castle.
And in a sense, a castle, like I said, that freaking castle. And in a sense, he's realized, I have just bought this guy protection, and now he's untouchable, and he's still doing the same thing.
Yep.
And I can't get to him now.
Something I want to walk back to is, that was one of the best lines this season when the old Kingpin's talking.
Yeah.
Wilson Fisk is like, why are you telling me this? He's like, because I know your type. You've never seen a throne you didn't want to sit on.
Mm-hmm. and
at the end, he's like, yeah, I kept you alive because you were right, and I want you to know that.
Okay, other things to look forward to, and a lot of people online are wanting this Shadowland now that we've got the hand.
Was that what the big hole was? They never go back to that.
Man, I think that's what that's all about. I mean, that's one of them things that they just kind of left off. And
a lot of cool things.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is this hole doing here? And it was just like, oh, let's fight some hand ninjas and let's book it. Let's not tell anybody. You figured Avengers Hotline. Can I hold it up for you? Yeah, this is Matt Murdock. I have a tip for a hole in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Could you send the Avengers, please?
Well, they didn't touch on a lot of the like big hole. Oh crap! Ninjas run away. Okay, I get why we don't. They don't get to know what's in the hole. We don't get to know what's in the hole. But then there was the I saved all these kids. All these kids killed their dad and went back.
I know.
Why? Why did they do this? Where's the blood going? What's it go? Does it go into this?
Yeah, and see and you never find out what this is. And my entire time I'm thinking, man, they're going to take Daredevil. They're going to put him in there. He's going to be embodied by the Beast, and he's going to take over the Hand. Because if you ever read Shadowland, spoilers, if you've never read this, maybe you should fast forward this, is the Hand's looking for a leader. They've been wanting Matt Murdock, Daredevil, to be the leader of the Hand. And he doesn't want to do it, so they're like, okay, well then we're going to go get the Kingpin. And to stop the Kingpin from having the Hand, he takes it upon himself, but he uses them for his own level of justice. And they resurrected ancient Japanese tower, they call it Shadowland, and unknown to him is he's being affected by this thing called the Beast. That's this demon that the Hand worship. And it takes all these street level heroes, which is honestly what I'm hoping for. They're talking Defenders. I hate that they're going to call them the Defenders, but I'm hoping that's what this builds up to for the Defenders is Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and then they've already got Spider-Man. You bring Spider-Man in this season story. It's a great way to bring back the Punisher. He's involved with it. By some chance, there are the little hot rumors going on right now that after X-Men Apocalypse, the X-Men are going to become part of the Marvel Universe. I don't believe that. But if you do, there's your great chance for Wolverine.
First.
Oh, no, I didn't read that on April Post, actually. I heard that last week.
It's been around for a few weeks.
It's been around for a couple weeks. It's just something small. But Shadowland, and and they have the rights for Ghost Rider now.
I was going to say that.
And Ghost Rider is
He's gonna drive out
he gets
that
his
damn
ass
hole.
whooped by Daredevil in that book. And that is a great way to incorporate that character because Kingpin summons the Ghost Rider. And for no one that knows who the Ghost Rider is, that would be a really cool way to bring him in because you could take Johnny Blaze and the Kingpin be like, hey, I'm going to use this guy to bring this creature in to go fight, the Hand. Be a cool way to introduce that character.
And more mysticism.
Yeah.
Mysticism.
Does that mysticism.
Yes.
Oh, his technology lets his skull be on fire.
And you also go to the layers of, how Asgard's always got their layers. You also find out that there's a hell too. There's 2 different types of hell.
I would really love Mephisto to show up and they're like, the devil. He's like, all right, let me get some shit straight right now. I'm not the devil.
I mean, you're right, but see, that's great ways to start tying this stuff in.
Yeah.
One thing I know you're extremely happy to be back. What's on that disc?
Oh, Micro. Our dearest of friends, Micro.
So how do you think Micro fits into this?
In the perfect world where I get what I want, I really hope they do my son got addicted to drugs and got with a rough crowd and then got offed. Because you have the mirror image of somebody who wants to punish people like Frank Castle does, but he doesn't have the means, so he latches onto the next best thing, which is bankrolling info tech for the guy who does do it. And right now we're having the same problem that we have with comics have had since Marvel pretty much got started, was all the heroes are in New York. Everybody's in New York. Anything bad happens, it happens in New York. If one alien armada just attacked Missouri, they would take over because there'd be no heroes there to stop them. So I'd really like to see Punisher, Battle Van going out west, Mexican drug cartels in California, which again, all the tech startups are out in California. So we just get a change of scenery, get to see that there's more to New York than the Baxter Building.
Yeah.
And get to see a little bit of America as Frank punishes his way across. That's what I hope for Micro.
Actually, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you rounded it up really nicely, and I hadn't really put any thought about what I would want for Micro, but yeah, I think you just, that's what I want now. He is actually a great way to tie other areas than New York and what, we had Malibu and Iron Man, and we've had some Germany, Eastern Europe, yeah, you look at Avengers. So yeah, it's actually a great way to spread Marvel around the United States. I mean, even when he goes overseas from time to time.
Yeah.
You talk about that, one big thing to look forward to in the future, and they brought this up with the Punisher, is when he's on this spree, because he hasn't killed many people yet in the show. But they were talking about...
60, pretty low body count.
Yeah. But they talked about how he himself is making everybody rethink the superhero thing and vigilanteism and shit, and we have Civil War approaching.
Yeah.
So hopefully that right there, that line, that scene is something that's going to start playing into Luke Cage coming out this fall. Iron Fist when it gets here the next season. It's something that I'd really like to see be very, very heavy, because we've all read Civil War. Obviously, the movie's not kind of that tone of the tone of the book, in a sense. But hopefully they will take that and with that scene start using this in these shows, because I think that's something that needs to be taken effect. It's something that really needs to start. Is hey, we got to start putting an end to this. Someone's going to put their foot down about it. And cue J. Jonah Jameson, because he is all about this crap. I think I'd much rather have him introduced in something like Daredevil before you get a Spider-Man movie, because he's going to have to show up eventually to start talking about this stuff.
Well, see, that's the problem with the Civil War in the Marvel universe was they let Iron Man just run around in his billion-dollar suit for too long. It was the first movie when he's going back and getting revenge on the people that were attacking him.
Yeah.
He's literally shooting people in the head with micro missiles, and it's like, you are not a soldier. That is technically murder. You should be convicted of murder in 3 countries in the Middle East because you're not affiliated with the government. You don't have that, hey, it's okay for you to kill because we trained you. And we're just now getting to the, hey, maybe we should do something about these walking weapons of mass destruction.
And then, hopefully you get a lot of that in Civil War, but like I said, hopefully in these shows you'll start getting a lot more of that, because
it's the best basis for it.
Yes, and it's a good way to start out. Other than that, with Reborn, Shadowland, everything with the Punisher, you've got a lot to look forward to in the next season of this. Maybe Frank will show up in Luke Cage. Be a nice little way, just piece him through it. I can't see him in a Jessica Jones series by any chance.
That's why I think they have to get him out of New York, because you do not know one New York citizen goes like, oh yeah, trial of the century. You look exactly like that guy that was on the stand that went nuts. Oh God, you're the Punisher. And then that guy immediately goes and pays all of his parking tickets.
But with that, this is our review of Daredevil Season 2. Go back, watch Season 1 if you haven't watched it in our review. Mike, thanks for showing up.
Oh, thanks for having me. This has been great.
Oh, no, we'll get you back on here with some other stuff. But we're the Villains Man. Justin Von Doom, he's having a great. Mike Rudd, good friend of ours. Keep reading, guys.
Punishment.